And Costas, well, the answer to it anyway. We'll give the lineup today. I'm Johnny Bench, and this is Gary Carter. And for the Cincinnati Reds, leading off will be Eddie Milner. He'll be playing in right field. Young hitter that's got good speed.
I think he does. He's awfully fast on the base pass, so if you say so, John, I'll go with it.
That's what I taught the kid. Follow me, right? Ron Oster, he's batting second, playing second base. Dave Concepcion, the shortstop, he's having a good year. And batting cleanup, Dan Driesen, who's really swinging a hot bat.
He is swinging the hot bat, and you don't want to throw him a first ball fastball because he's jumping on it like crazy, and he is definitely in a groove right now. That's why he's batting fourth.
Cesar Cedeno will be the fifth-place hitter. He's playing in center field. The sixth-place hitter is Larry Bittner in left field. I'm playing third. Batting
You're
seventh.
playing third.
You got me there again. The other kid got hurt.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Batting eighth. The catcher for today's game, Mike O'Barry, replacing Alex Trevino for today's game. And the pitcher, Tom Seaver. He's struggling.
Well, he's struggling, but he's a premier pitcher. He's a veteran. He knows how to pitch, so I think he's due for a big one today. But, hey, we got to keep our streak going.
Steve Rogers, the counterpart, 6-3. That brilliant 1.74 ERA is a couple of shutouts this year. He has the best earned run average of any starting pitcher in the National League. There are his numbers for the year. Young man from, well, not so young now, 32, out of Springfield, Missouri, and Tulsa University. Rogers remembered for one pitch that he threw back in October here in Olympic Stadium, Montreal, when he served up the home run to Rick Monday in relief in the deciding game of the National League playoffs, and the Dodgers went on to the series and the championship. Dick Enberg, Bob Costas, welcome to Montreal. There's the defensive alignment, Robert.
Wallach at third and Spire at short, with Tim Raines having moved from left field to second base, one of many lineup changes this year for the Expos.
Eddie Milner, the speedy, live, left-handed hitting leadoff man, batting at .252. Lines it to the shortstop, Spire, with an ice cream cone catch. What away. Not this year. They were 4-10 on their last homestand, and there were a lot of grumbling. Then they went out and won all 6 road games, and it's a whole different environment. 20 pounds in the last couple of years, and he showed that power last evening. Rogers guns the fastball by him. There's 2 gone. Find the seam that he likes, sets it in his glove, and then he knows exactly where it is. We're going to talk about the baseball and the fact that it's Lamar the Horseye.
I'm always looking at the baseball, feeling it, touching it. You got to. That's how I make my living. But one thing I found is the inconsistency in the seams. I'm always looking at the seams to find the biggest one to put my finger on, because I feel like since the seams make the pitch move, I might as well find the best one to get my finger on. I'm always out there checking it over. Someday maybe I'll even throw a good pitch with it.
Well, he almost didn't on that serve to Concepcion, and Dawson caught it in the pocket of the glove on the warning path about 390 in right center. No score after a half inning.
Hi, I'm Gary Carter, and I'll give the Montreal Expos lineup today. We got Timmy Raines leading off, one of the fastest men in baseball, and playing second base for us today. What do you think, John?
Hasn't run that much of late. And I don't know if he's hurt or he just doesn't want to, but he can do it anytime he wants to.
Well, I definitely feel because it's the second hitter. Rodney Scott was there the last couple of years, protected him a little bit more. We've got Terry Francona playing left field and batting second, more of a free swinger, and Tito, as his dad was called, he's coming into his own and is going to be one of the better players around the league.
Well, now you're starting to get in the meat of the lineup, and of course your first 2 guys are what carry you.
And Andre Dawson, to me, is one of the best outfielders in the major leagues today, one of the best players in the major leagues.
He can do it all, and he may be the MVP.
Yes, definitely. Al Oliver playing first base. Yours truly batting fifth and catching.
How they can keep running you out there, I don't know. Go
ahead. Warren Cromartie batting sixth and playing right field. Tim Wallach playing third base and doing an outstanding job for us there and swinging the bat excellently. We also got Chris Collier batting eighth, playing shortstop, and Steve Cy Rogers.
That's right. Cy Young, watch him. He believes it out there. If he wasn't an Okie, I wouldn't even talk about it.
That's exactly right. And that'll round up our lineup today. John, good luck today, and we hope to keep our winning streak alive.
All right, back to you.
Keep the left shoulder driving toward the plate. He says, I keep opening up too soon. High to center. Cedeno. A circuitous route, but finds it at the edge of the warning track.
The last time you were in this ballpark, this fella, Tom Seaver, was sitting where I am now next to you as he was your broadcast partner, Dick.
That's right, and really enjoyed the baseball that I learned from Tom. And I expected to find, he's got the redneck now and then, does Tom, and when he's 1-6, I really was, I approached him rather cautiously this weekend, but he's been very generous. He said, I've analyzed it inside out. He said, Despite what people want to say, I don't have an old arm. My arm is fine. I feel fine.
He's opening that left shoulder up too much on the delivery.
Smothered up the first baseline. Francona, fair ball? No, foul ball. It is the home plate umpire's call. Someone down in that Cincinnati dugout yelling at Pallone. He's motioning it was outside the line. There's the defense of the Reds.
And in the outfield, especially in left field, it's suspect with Bittner, who is not a very good fielder. Cedeno, of course, a fine center fielder. And Eddie Milner has really impressed in right field. Something you'll see Milner doing during batting practice. He shags flies off the bat rather than fungos, which gives him a better idea about the ball's trajectory.
Francona, the shortstop. Concepcion to Dreesen, 2 away. Tom Seaver, he had a preseason injury and also the flu. Here's what he had to say about getting ready.
Definitely been having my troubles. One of the things that's been happening, I feel, is that my left side have been opening it up too much, and if you open up your left side too much, the arm either has to drop down or drop out, and the ball is very flat, and there's really no life at the hitting zone. So one of the things that I'm going to try to do and get accomplished today is keep my front side closed and get more energy going right directly toward home plate as opposed to off to the left side.
Andre Dawson takes a strike. You know, whatever it is, a tennis ball, a golf ball, pitching, boxing. Bench, a tough play, and he won't get him.
Nonetheless, instructive, Dick, about how well Johnny Bench has adapted to play at third base. He had little chance to get Dawson, who runs extremely well, and yet he handles this ball barehanded and cleanly.
Now, there's not a third baseman in the league that would have thrown out Dawson on that ball, and last year he had 26 stolen bases in the shortened year. There he goes. But Oliver can't check his swing on an inside slider, and he's out of there. And so are the Expos. No runs to hit, and they leave a man. After 1 inning on a marvelous day in Montreal, 80 degrees, the Reds, the Expos, no score. Cincinnati games, batting .352 in that stretch to raise his average up over the 300 mark. Martz, Sanderson, who won last night, 4-2, and Lee in Montreal dominating the pitching statistics. Good changeup, gets Dreesen, second strikeout for Rogers.
Only reliever Gene Garber of Atlanta has a lower ERA than Rogers, but he hasn't worked the required number of innings to meet the qualifications for the ERA leaders at this point in the year.
Figure that 39 innings, that's the equivalent of 4 games plus 3 innings and only 3 runs. So last night made only 1 mistake, a 2-run homer by Oster. Cedeno, a solid single past the diving Spire, and the Reds have their first base runner with 495 steals. He's 2 shy.
He was hanging around the batting cage watching the Cardinals substitutes bat one day in St. Louis. Somebody asked him why. He said, I like to watch the Scribinis hit. That was the message he gave all the young hitters. Some of them listened. There goes the runner. Pitch out by Carter. Raines applies the tag. And anytime you can be around 35% in throwing them out, that's excellent. And Carter is well above that. Let's see what happens here on the tag. Cedeno, a late slide. Bittner aims it at Dawson in center, and the inning is over.
This is Byron Day in New York. In Cleveland, the Tribe is on the board first. Mike Hargrove hits his sacrifice fly to drive in Miguel de Linay, but Billy Allman cuts the throw off from left field, and they get Toby Harrod trying to sneak into second base. Cleveland leads it 1-0, bottom of the first.
And here in Cincinnati, no score. John McNamara will be 50 years old next week, in Montreal, rather. Cincinnati manager McNamara. So he's having that knee examined at the moment. Hume, the ace reliever of this club. Wayne Krenchicki with a chip fracture of his thumb. He'll be out for about a week. And Frank Pastore, the starting pitcher, had to waive his turn last night. He'll go tomorrow after injuring himself in batting practice, a foul tip. Carter, the bench, and our duo on the pregame lineups, the upper hand.
The scores from last night: Sanderson the winner, Carter a homer in this 4-2 win for Montreal. The Cubs, with Keith Moreland staying hot with a homer, beat the Dodgers. San Francisco beats the Pirates 10-5. The Cardinals stay on top in the National League East. Bruce Sutter picking up his 14th save. Bob Forsch the winner. Houston beats the Mets 8-3. Atlanta and Philly rained out. Last night, Cromartie was in the batting cage down in the bowels of Olympic Stadium with hitting coach Billy DeMar staying an hour or so after the game to work on his hitting problems.
Pulls that one to right field. Milner. Have to face in Montreal.
Charlie Lee retired 26 batters after yielding a first-inning single in a game at Houston.
Wallach, base hit. Even with the outfield playing deep, they can't cut it off, and Wallach has a double.
Perfect illustration of how AstroTurf has changed the game. That is a single on natural grass, but Mendoza, weak-hitting infielder. Tom Paciorek laid that nickname on him when they were teammates at Seattle, and any ball player who is beneath 200 has crossed the Mendoza line, as unfortunately for...
That hurts your arm. Said he thinks that's how he injured it 2 years ago, and he was indeed grimacing. 2-2 pitch. Got him on the edge. That's a Tom Seaver pitch. His second strikeout. Wallach's 2-out double is wasted by the Expos as he is left at second base, and we go to the third of a scoreless game. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Third baseman Wayne Krenschicki suffering the fractured thumb. No place for Johnny to go except to his position in the field.
Full count now to bench. And a base hit to right field. The second Cincinnati hit.
Spire has company beneath the Mendoza line here with Mike O'Berry, Dick.
The Costas line is at work again, and ladies and gentlemen, understand the game bilingually today from Montreal. Took a little off the breaking pitch, and O'Berry is the third strikeout victim of Rogers. They're the strikeout leaders in the National League this year. Soto, the Reds, sizable lead over Steve Carlton. Some of you will see Carlton in our second game of the doubleheader today against Atlanta.
If there was any pitcher in the majors who was always losing tough luck, low-run games, it was him.
Hit and run as Seaver singles to right, and Bench will go to third base. How do you do?
Always been a good hitter, occasional home run power. And talk about doing your job exactly as it was designed. There's the hole with Oliver holding Bench on at first. Seaver slaps it through, but Cromartie made this play reasonably close with a quick pickup and throw from right field. Here's Bench making his turn, and he doesn't cut it as close as he might have, but he got in there safely.
And you saw that the first baseman, Oliver, expecting the bunt. He was charging toward the plate, so that... And Milner, who lined to short, the batter. Here's pitch, 2-0. Hits it to Dawson. That won't get the run in. And Bench is forced to hold at third.
Rather nonchalant cutoff attempt by Cromartie.
All Steve Rogers. And Oster, until last night, did not have a hit against the Expos, but
wearing the jacket beneath his uniform, which would be quite a trick. Obviously, it's over.
There's that off-speed breaking ball, and Oster chased a bad pitch. Rogers works out of the third with a couple of key strikeouts. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. Middle of the third, no score. And for Tom Seaver, his third strikeout.
Interesting people like Ricky Henderson and Bob Dernier. But part of the problem has been all the different people batting behind him. They use
299 starting today, so he's been on base. Not this time. Dreesen takes it himself.
Or it dawns on them a bit too late, opens the gates for a big inning.
Especially with Raines. Oh, look at that one from Seaver.
But Francona really waited on this changeup. He hitched his swing, wasn't fooled, and then leveled on it.
That's almost a semi-blooper from Seaver. He really lollipopped it up there. First. Flies it foul, back of first. Dreesen has a play.
A papa, or as they say in Montreal, la Bibi Chantel.
Let's run that by me again.
La Bibi Chantel.
Oh, and I love you too. And after 3, there's no score in Montreal.
Saturday, Stella becomes the mayor's assistant and turns the tables on Harper Valley. Then it's double trouble when Gramps asks two ladies on the same date. And the Mandrells welcome Donny Osmond.
I'm E.G. Marshall. I've played many different roles in my career, in the theater, movies, television, radio. You know, an actor has to be versatile, be able to perform in a variety of situations. And versatility is a hallmark of Albany Savings Bank as well. Whatever services you need, now accounts, savings bank life insurance, high-interest savings, retirement programs, Albany Savings Bank gets star billing. They're the savings people bank, committed to you.
This is Just Whistle, Gillette's twin blade razor for women. It pivots, adjusts to every curve to give a girl a smooth and easy shave.
This is Atra, Gillette's twin blade razor for men. It pivots, adjusts to every curve to give a guy a close and comfortable shave.
Just Whistle for her?
Atra for him. And they both use Atra blades.
Is that where my blades have been going?
Gillette's best shave for both of you.
I'm Johnny Bench. This is Krylon Spray Paint, the other leading national brand. And here comes my fast pitch, so watch close. Krylon Special Formula goes on smooth, just like a professional finish. And just 12 minutes later, it's dry to the touch. No runs, no drips, no errors. The other brand's still tacky after 1 hour. Let's see it again. Krylon dry after 12 minutes. Other brand still tacky after 1 hour. Did you catch that? Krylon, for a smooth, fast professional finish.
Daytona 82. The Honda 900F Superbikes. They follow the leader with the world's fastest motorcycles. They break the lap record. They break the track record. They cross the finish line. First, second, and third. The CB 900F. It didn't just win the race. It was the race.
When you're a big guy like me, people always want to see just how strong you are. So after this arm works, this arm always relaxes with light beer from Miller. The light's got a third less calories than the regular beer, and it tastes great. What I like about it, it's less filling. So when you're in a hot match like this, you can't afford to get filled up.
You have the time?
Yeah. About 8:30.
Yeah, thanks.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
Next.
Powerful women attack the bar and assault the record books.
Plus, exciting martial artists drive flesh and bone through solid material. And the men's Churichi Cup gymnastics from Japan.
On NBC Sports World. Tomorrow.
Last night in the American League, the Angels got a home run in the 8th from Baylor to move into first place. Toronto, Baltimore rained out. Cleveland beat Chicago 5-2. The Indians.
This man hadn't been in uniform in almost 20 years before they brought him back to replace Dick Williams last September. Concepcion. Green's making the play, but then he throws high. Carter backing it up. Prevents any further advance.
Boy, an alert play by Carter backing it up. And Concepcion took a turn towards second. Had Oliver been alert, it appeared that the first base umpire, Davidson, would have called Concepcion out on it.
Steve Boros, one of the Expo coaches, has been working with Raines, trying to get him acclimated. Concepcion going. And here's the throw into center field by Carter, but Concepcion will go no further. So no error on the play, and just credit a stolen base for Concepcion as lineup changes for the Reds this year. Bench out from behind the plate to third. Trevino acquired in the Foster deal back of the plate. An entirely new outfield. 1946.
And that, of course, was after the war.
Now let's see if Concepcion wants to tag. Marty makes a running catch. Willie Mays fashion that wound up too shallow. So Concepcion holds at second with one out.
Bob, the Indians in the middle of a big inning. Rick Manning singles off the glove of Tom Pachort. That scored Vaughn Hayes to second base. They now lead it 2-0, and they're not out of the inning yet. They're really rubbing up Lamar Hoyt in Cleveland.
Going to shave or get his hair cut until that streak is broken. 14 consecutive wins, 3 off the American League record, but in trouble today.
Cedeno taps one toward third, and Wallach comes in and makes the play. And again, no advance by Concepcion.
Or at least the threat thereof. They don't have it this year and have not shown it.
Of course, up to this point, Foster with the Mets and Griffey and Collins with the Yankees, all former Reds. They have all struggled. Bittner lashes one into left field, but Francona has a beat on it and runs it down. So Concepcion with an infield hit and a stolen base, but he's stranded at second as Dreesen, Cedeno, and Bittner couldn't bring him home. We've gone through 3.5 in Montreal. No score.
This Byron Day in New York. In Cleveland, the Indians are still batting. Alan Bannister singles to left. That scores Rick Manning and Ron Hassey while Bannister takes second. It's now 4-0 Cleveland, bottom of the second.
Jim Fanning involved in a bit of a ruckus a while back with Bill Lee. Volatile left-hander walked out on the ball club after they cut his buddy Rodney Scott. Here's Al Oliver cutting on the first pitch and lining it into center field for a base hit. Milner comes over and cuts it off. And a wide turn by Oliver, who holds with a single.
Scott out in one of the Montreal suburbs, so the spaceman is still in the area. They all remember the line drives that are caught.
Hit on the ground to Bench for the second time. Can they turn two? Oster won't even throw. Oliver with the potential takeout slide. So they get the force as Carter grounds to Bench for the second straight time. Strike call, says plate umpire Dave Pallone. We mentioned in the last inning all the Reds lineup changes and the fact that no team returning as few as 3 regulars. Our statistician Steve Horn. This is the difference between Tom Seaver's lifetime winning percentage and the winning percentages of the teams he has played for. As Cromartie fouls another one off. And it's not even close. Seaver is the all-time leader in this department, the great Grover Alexander, played by our president in the movies. Walter Johnson and Lefty Grove next on the list. To give you an idea of how he ranks against some contemporary, Sandy Koufax was a plus record, differential record. Cromartie pops this one up, and Bench will have a play in foul ground for the second out.
Yeah, that's the real definition of a stopper, a guy that doesn't matter who you're pitching for. When you wheel him out to the mound, you expect a victory, and that's exactly what Tom...
As hapless ball club did. That was an amazing season for Carlton.
That's where the team goes in the bus, and Carlton takes the limo.
Play.
Driving toward the plate.
Wallach hits it in the air to center field, and Cedeno, almost in his tracks, makes the catch for the third out. A leadoff single by Oliver, but no further advance. And at the end of 4 in Montreal, the Reds and Expos remain scoreless, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. On that last homestand, the Expos were 4-10, then hit the road and won 6 straight times and kept it going last night with the 4-2 win behind Scott Sanderson to make it 7 in a row. And perhaps Jim Fanning was right. This was the team that was expected to win, thought by many to be not only the best team in their division, but perhaps baseball's emerging team of the 80s, but they were slow getting out of the gate. A couple of weeks ago, we had the Reds on our game of the week. They fell behind 12-0 at Pittsburgh, rallied back before losing 12-9. Wallach has to come in quickly in the throw, and he gets Johnny Bench. Unlike Tim Raines, who has had some problems shifting in mid-season from the outfield to second base, with Wallach trying to get him to keep the bare hand closer to the glove when he fields a ball. It's his tendency from having played a lot of first base and some outfield. One of the best control artists in baseball. Lined up the middle by O'Berry.
Oh, that's news. Raise the flag. O'Berry, 6 hits in 31 at-bats on the year.
Pitch around the 8th hitter, or don't you?
And if he's just knocked someone down, do you try to knock him down?
I don't think it's any, because the pitchers don't have to stand up and face retaliation. Seaver gets it down nicely. Oliver guns it over to Raines for the out, with O'Berry advancing. So now Eddie Milner will have a chance with 2 out to knock him in, but first let's check with Byron Day.
Okay, Bob, up in Minnesota, the Yankees had something going at the top half of the first inning, but this strikeout by John Mayberry turned into a double play. And Lauder threw out Griffey, nothing, now at the bottom of the first.
Opinion on him. So-so, says Dick Enberg with a wave of the hand.
That's why he's in left field.
And he'll have a chance to play this one. A mild red threat goes by the boards. No runs, a hit, an advancing bunt, but a runner is left. At the end of 4.5 at Olympic Stadium in Montreal, Rogers and Seaver are locked in a scoreless duel.
is America's leader in radials? Goodyear. We outsell all foreign radials combined. And here's one reason why. The Goodyear Eagle GT. A high-performance radial that gives a great performance in the rain with outstanding traction and superb handling on wet, slippery turns. The Goodyear Eagle GT. It's one reason Goodyear is the leader in radials. No foreign maker of radials even comes close. When you need radials, come up to Goodyear.
It's the dawn of a great new taste when you come to the place called Silver Creek. It's a Western cut brand, won't float around, a smokeless tobacco with flavor unbound. Silver Creek brand. It sweeps you to mountains where fresh breezes blow, to a whisper of wintergreen, cool as the snow, to the moisture and flavor that just seem to flow through Silver Creek. So if you're looking for pleasure at its peak, don't follow the crowd, follow the creek. Silver Creek smokeless tobacco.
Wherever men race to win, champion spark plugs will be there. You can be a winner, too. You can win a free trip to the Caesars Palace Grand Prix, Las Vegas. And you can find out if you're a winner by looking for the contest ad in these issues of Popular Mechanics, TV Guide, or Reader's Digest. Remove the coded instant winner card. Take it wherever you see this sign. Do it today. Win with Champion, the spark plug that wins the world over.
Like a lot of people, I'm taking better care of my body. Better care of my skin, too. With Skin Bracer Aftershave. Shaving is rough, so I use Skin Bracer. It cools and smooths skin. Tightens pores. That's the tingle. Smells great, too. But Skin Bracer's not cologne. It's skin care that feels good. That's why more men are saying, thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer, now in spice, too. Takes care of men who take care of their skin. Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By men.
There is just one place where you can go from high school to flight school. The Army.
Oh, yeah. Keep on reaching. Keep on growing.
Today's Army has more pilots than the largest airline.
Not bad for a rookie.
Now, I tell you, with girls, I never had any luck, you know. Well, I used to call information just to get a woman to talk to me. You live around here? Then I found light beer for Miller. Well, light's less filling, and it really tastes great. Now, I'll tell you, since I discovered light beer, women are always talking to me, you know. Hi. You come here often?
Get lost.
See what I mean?
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I tell you, she's crazy about me.
Tuesday. Maverick's big con to save the town gets a little out of hand.
It was part of your plan to keep Sweetwater standing, wasn't it? If it didn't look real, it wouldn't work.
For the game.
Reminder, fans, stay tuned. 15 years. So those numbers this season are just phenomenal for Seaver.
And only a few months removed from a 14-2 season. This is through the hole for Spire. And a leadoff single.
To me last night, he said, "You're working with Bob Costas." I said, "Yes." He said, "Oh, that's too bad." He said, "I've probably been available after the second inning."
Not so today. Career of 500 or more. Now, guys like Gehrig, Billy Williams, Musial, Garvey, they've had longer individual streaks, but only two players in history have had two streaks of 500. Rogers now behind on the count, 1-2. Only Charlie great games, let alone 500 straight. Still trying to bunt, and a strikeout victim. So just as we were discussing last inning, there's an illustration of why the designated hitter rule might not be so appealing. One pitcher bunted successfully, another didn't. Here's Byron Day.
Bob Pecoraro has got his 33rd RBI. He scored George Order with the Dodgers' first run. They now lead the Chicago Cubs 1-0 down the bottom of the first at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
All said basically the same thing about Gehringer. A field, everything looked easy. He never made a play difficult.
He was Spire would be moving on the 3-2 pitch, and he is. Raines with a half-hearted swing. He's a strikeout victim, and this is a double play as O'Berry guns Spire down at second base. So Spire with a leadoff hit. He is erased, however, on the strikeout throw-him-out situation. Seaver fans, 2 in the inning. He's looking sharp. We're scoreless after 5.
One of the outstanding baseball people, the skipper of the Montreal Expos, Jim Fanning. Dugout, lineup card behind him. Now, they're interesting to look at. They're all basically the same form, but those of you who will see the Angels game against the Brewers follow,
but never winning one.
I know one man pulling very hard for just that result, and there's a man I think all of baseball pulling for.
Oster, who has struck out twice, now hits it to Raines at second base. And again, a high throw that pulls Oliver off the bag, but he gets down in time. A lazy motion, sometimes taking too many steps before releasing in kind of a lollipop throw. And there it is. You saw he kind of half up
his way.
And obvious, too, that he was thinking about it as he did it, which is never the best thing. You want to be able to do it instinctively. Dawson goes almost to straightaway right field to take it, and that's what you want your center fielder to do. Right. Each pitcher has fanned 5. Seaver has allowed 5 hits, 1 in each frame.
1,500 meters to win the gold medal in the decathlon in 1976.
Changeup is hit weakly to Raines at second. Handles it without difficulty. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Rogers in the top half of the 6th. And at the end of 5½. Warming up to take off your shirt in Montreal, in contrast to the chilly temperatures the last time you were here broadcasting those playoff games.
It was wintry-like in some of those days, and we called it that way. Some of the... Yes, it's perfect pitcher's weather, about 75 to 80 degrees, fairly humid. You stay loose, you warm up, and you stay loose. Fire at UC Santa Barbara.
Payoff pitch. Nice piece of hitting as he goes the opposite way for a leadoff single. Of all players drafted, had played some college ball, so almost double.
Bat, the best average for a center fielder in the National League, and also a Golden Glove, the complete player out in center field.
You see, he didn't lead in anything, but he was amongst them in everything. Line to short, do they get 2? No. Concepcion doesn't even throw. That was right on the nose, but right at Concepcion. A man at first and 1 down, last half of the 6th. No score. Steve Rogers against Tom Seaver.
Oliver attended Kent State. Another example.
For the Rangers, what a puzzle. So much talent year in and year out. So much disappointment every year. Oliver drills one. It might get in the gap. It is off the wall on the fly in center field. Oliver fell down, and he's going to be held to a single, and it's a run-scoring single as Francona races around all the way from first base.
Well, this ball is hit. He reads it properly, knows it won't be caught, so he's running hard all the way and able to score. And as Oliver watching the ball round at first, he lost his footing, fell down, and had to settle for a single. Here comes Oliver, watching the ball, loses his footing as he comes off the path there, and fast fielding in the outfield, and Oliver, rather than risking being thrown out at second, goes back to first, an RBI single, Francona scoring from first.
Not only was that a short double had he kept his footing, but probably, since Cedeno misplayed it off the wall and it got by him, a possible triple. 2-0 pitch with the runner going, and a check swing. Dreesen backhands it almost blindly. Oliver advances, and Carter grounds out.
Boy, that's the kind of swing that'll get Carter.
Romarty has played first base and the outfield. 3-1. Check swing roller to bench. And that retires the side. I'm not sure Oliver realized how many outs there were, but in any event, he was running back towards second, not just to avoid a tag play, but I think to go back to second, not realizing how many outs there were. Here's Byron.
Bob, here's the triple play you were talking about. First and second for the Yankees, no out. Roy Smalley swings and misses. Launer then throws down to Lenny Faedo at third base, who bluffs Mercer back to the bag, but Nettles is there. He then throws to Herbeck. Herbeck tags out Nettles, throws back across the diamond, and pitcher Felton tags out Bobby Mercer.
Facing the Reds, Cedeno. A ground single and a ground out to third.
A looper into center field for a base hit. So Cedeno
Dick, Lamar Hoyt might have picked on the wrong team to go for his 10th victory of the year. Here, Miguel Delaunay hits a fastball into the right field bleachers, making it 5-0 Tribe, now in the top of the 5th.
All right, Byron, Miguel Delaunay, a rare home run for him, the little left-handed batter, and trying to end Hoyt's bid at 10 straight this year and 15 in a row over the last 2 years.
Credits his entire interest in baseball to his grandmother.
Bittner with a base hit. Cedeno, will he go to third?
No, he had to check to make sure that ball was going to clear the infield, so a couple of soft singles off Rogers.
No way to defend yourself on that.
No, Bench unable to sacrifice, goes down swinging.
Rogers' 6th strikeout of the game. His first, however, since the 3rd inning. Over from the New York Mets in the Foster deal. And his skipper, McNamara, have been very pleased not only with his catching. They knew he was a fine receiver and gets rid of the ball very quickly, but that batting average, he's contributed 278. Jim Fanning, meanwhile, had...
Could be 2. It is. And Rogers pitches out of trouble. 2 men on. He strikes out Bench and gets Trevino in a 4-6-3 double play. And now here's another edition of the 7th inning stretch.
This week, Saturday Night Live is back and better than ever.
Told you so.
So join host Bruce Stern with musical guest Luther Vandross tonight on NBC.
On NBC Magazine, to have a child with birth defects or to have an abortion, lab tests give parents the terrible choice. Then meet a man who makes millions from pizza Saturday.
Spice presents the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Old Spice Aftershave and Cologne, the fresh, clean, masculine scent women love.
Satchel Paige toiled away his prime, pitching 200 games a year in the barnstorming Negro Leagues. He threw unhittable fastballs from a windmill windup. He threw a hesitation pitch and a baffling array of curves and swerves. Satch was 41 when Jackie Robinson first joined the Brooklyn Dodgers. 1 year later, Satch was rescued from oblivion by the Cleveland Indians. Over the next 6 years, Satch had enough stuff left to pitch his way into a pair of all-star games. When he was 59, he made a comeback and hurled 3 scoreless innings against the Red Sox. And Satchel Paige loved to tell the secret of his eternal youth.
Never look back, 'cause something may be gaining on you.
An Old Spice man always gets a warm welcome wherever he lands. Because Old Spice is the clean, fresh, masculine scent so many women love. So even if you love only one woman, you'll love Old Spice. The men's scent so many women love.
Atari brings the computer age home.
Gonna run, gonna go!
Late again, huh, Dad?
With an Atari home computer,
Have a nice day at the office.
you can easily work at home or open your home to a world of possibilities. In fact, the hardest part about owning an Atari home computer isn't how to use it, but who gets to use it.
Lock it closed, Dad. Mind if I do my work?
Hey, no problem. Atari home computers, we've brought the computer age home.
I do one thing. I race to win. And at 250 miles per hour, I have to concentrate on being the best. Just like Kentucky Fried Chicken. They concentrate on chicken, cooked up fresh to split-second timing with the Colonel's special touch. That's how Kentucky Fried Chicken got to be #1.
And it tastes so good?
It's the only time Mom's never in a hurry to finish first.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Professionals like Yvonne Lendl use Bengay, not only after exercise, but to help warm up before. Does using Bengay during warm-up really help? A recent clinical study proved when healthy adults used Bengay during warm-up, they ran more comfortably for a longer time. For years, there's been proof Bengay helps relieve soreness after exercise for hours. Now there's proof Bengay can help you warm up before. Bengay after and Bengay before.
Feel better with Bengay.
If two good friends
Wow.
Good night.
Now I see why you guys dragged me up here.
Ooh, hey.
Hit him with the best parts.
Bet the Lowenbrow still cold. You brought Lowenbrow all the way up here?
No.
You did.
When you want the taste of a truly great American beer, tonight, let it be Lowenbrow.
You're not mad at us, are you, Pete? Just lucky it was Lowenbrow.
Let it Lowenbrow.
Hi, I'm Ted Williams. You know, over the years, the All-Star Game has provided me with many thrills. This is the 13th consecutive year that baseball fans have voted to select the All-Star teams. You can help choose the starting lineups for the All-Star Game in Montreal on July 13th by voting in this year's election. Ballots are free at retail stores featuring a Gillette All-Star display and at the major and minor league parks. Balloting ends July 4th, so be sure to get out and vote.
Furnished by Major League Baseball and Gillette.
Don't miss the very best in baseball. The Giants slide into Chicago to try to catch the red-hot Cubbies. Or the Mariners sail east to tangle with the Tigers on NBC Sports next Saturday.
This is Byron Day in New York. Larry Boa only had 3 RBIs going into the ballgame today, but this fourth one was fairly important. It drove in Leon Durham to tie the ballgame up at 1-all at the bottom of the third.
Here's the inning-ending double play. Trevino made to orders. He grounds it up the middle. That brings Raines to the bag. The easy flip to Spira. But what's interesting about the inning, and even the great ones can't always deliver. Bench, his failure to sacrifice, that's a 2-run single. If Bench is able to move the runners along to second and third, Raines isn't playing there, and that hopper up the middle is 2 Cincinnati runs. It's those little things that do add up.
Good for him. Preferred that his team get something going.
Wallach, Spira, Rogers, the lower end of the Montreal order in the last of the 7th inning, and Wallach drills it into the left field corner. Fast fielding, but not in time. Wallach has a double.
Henderson from Oakland could have had a play on it. Well, this ball is right in his wheelhouse. That's a batting practice pitch, Dick.
And he rattled the boards and left for the 8th Montreal base hit off Seaver. And it's a bad sign. You look to the right side. He has struck out and singled to left. His job here is not to think about base hit, to just move the runner to third.
Get him call on with a 1-run lead in the 8th or 9th.
Line to Concepcion on the short hop. And Spira is out. So Seaver induced Spira to hit it to the left side, hit it to the right side.
Remember in the playoffs last year when he beat Steve Carlton 3-0, he drove in 2 of those 3 runs with a base hit.
He's got that unique pitcher's bat. 37 here at Olympic Stadium today. Concepcion across to Dreesen, 2 away. 9 pitchers duel against Rogers and Seaver. 1-0 Montreal, home half of the 7th. And Tim Raines trying to add to that lead for the Expos. Year without some problem, but oh, what a sensational start by Henderson. So Seaver had the atom ball working for him after Wallach had doubled. Spira hit it hard. Rogers out on a ground ball to short, and Raines lines out to second. 2 innings to go. Montreal leads by 1. 36 for 24, 250. 1 hop to Oliver. 1 out in the 8th inning. It is still Seaver's game.
Householder, Hurdle, and Cedeno. As the Reds' new outfield, only a third of that remains.
Hit deep to right. If it's fair, it's trouble. It is a home run. Milner touches them all for the first time this year. And the game is even at 1. State University. Milner from that city has done a little punching of his own. Raines has been busy today, takes care of.
On the pregame show at the Red Sox AAA outpost in Pawtucket. when Hurdle back in Indianapolis.
And the International League has some talent.
Concepcion drills it into the right field corner. And he has a double. There's a tough call for Fanning. That pitcher, you know he doesn't want to come out in a 1-1 game, but now the go-ahead run is at second with 2 out. And Fanning, he's the man who has to make the decision. You saw him talk with Carter, undoubtedly asking Carter, does he still have good stuff? And the answer is yes. Rogers. Nub to Rogers. And the inning is over. But Eddie Milner's first Major League home run has tied it for Cincinnati. We go to the home half of the 8th, even at 1.
This is Byron Day in New York. Up in Minnesota, the Twins have broken out on top. Dave Engel triples into the power alley in right center, scoring Ken Herbeck from first base. That was the first run of the ball game. They added one more. It's now 2-0, top of the 5th.
Thank you, Byron. And here in Montreal, Joe Price inherits the game, tied at 1. That's his record, 1-1, fine ERA of 1.48. 25-year-old from Inglewood, California. Now makes his home in Lakeside. Receiver in the 6th inning, a leadoff hit by this man, Francona. He came around on Oliver's long single to right center. Would have been a double, but Oliver fell down, rounding first base. But Ed Milner's first Major League home run in the 8th inning, top half of this inning, has tied it for Cincinnati.
And his responsibilities as the number 2 hitter behind base-stealing Tim Raines, he has impressed me as a mature hitter today. Took a Seaver changeup up the middle, took him to the opposite field for a base hit another time.
And he walks to lead off the 8th inning. Now Seaver, who went through 7 innings without giving up a free ticket, and Price loses the leadoff man in the 8th. So that's 5 consecutive innings as the Expos have had their first man on. That ball in on Dawson. Foul ball. Francona going around to third.
And
they say it hit him. Apparently they're going to say the ball hit Dawson in the knee or foot, in which case he's aboard. Yes, it hit him right on the toe. No question, he was hit by the pitch.
Francona now is standing at second base, anticipating that they will give him first, and plate umpire Dave Malone says, yes, that's what you're entitled to. It happened in another World Series in 1969 with Cleon Jones of the Mets against Earl Weaver's Baltimore Orioles. And was Earl ever enraged?
Oliver swings away, base hit to left. Play at the plate, and he's out. The Montreal Expos with no one out. Why take a chance?
They will question why Billy DeMars waved Francona around. Terry runs pretty well. Bittner is not an especially good defensive outfielder, not an especially strong arm, but he played it cleanly, and the throw to Trevino was right there. They could have had the bases loaded with nobody out.
And Trevino blocking the plate with that left leg, and you saw Francona as he made his slide. He made a slide right over the leg. He actually was there in time to be safe, but he had to skip over Trevino, and by that time, the Cincinnati catcher had the tag on him. That's really a great piece of camera work. We could see that again. We got it from various angles, but the way Trevino blocked the plate was the key to the entire play, and we will look at it again. But first, let's break for this special word, a change of pitchers. It's tied at 1 in the bottom of the 8th in Montreal.
This Byron Day in New York. Roy Smalley has just cut the Twins' lead in half. He doubles in Greg Nettles. It's now 2-1. The Twins are still leading up in the Dome in Minneapolis in the top of the 5th. Let's go back to Dick and Bob.
Gary Carter has just hit a 3-run home run over the left center field fence, and Montreal's up 4-1. And look at the welcoming committee outside the Expo dugout. The first pitch from reliever Jim Kern. Comebacker by Cromartie, and Kern throws him out. That against ball delivered by Carter had to be definite. Wallach hits it well, but not well enough. 3 runs, 2 hits, thanks to Gary Carter, no one left. And in Montreal, 28,000 plus has seen the Expos take a 4-1 lead.
Okay, Dick, we certainly do. Gary Carter hitting his 10th home run of the year with his 27th RBI, a 3-run homer. Expos now lead it 4-1. Now the top of the 9th, as you know.
And now Steve Rogers just 3 outs away from his 7th win of the year. Big home run. In left field, Dan Norman, an ex-Cincinnati employee, and Terry Friend. The Dodgers-A's World Series when ground ball by Cedeno, Wallach, low, and Francona digs it out. Well, Francona moving to first base and makes a nice backhanded pickup of Wallach's throw.
Also takes third base coach Billy DeMars off the hook. He sent Terry Francona around instead of settling for bases loaded, nobody out, and Bittner nailed Francona at the plate. But then it was all academic.
Up the middle. Great play, Spire. Spire ranging far to his left. Ball was actually by him when he made the fielding play and throws out Bittner 2 away. There's one of the top defensive plays of the game. And the ball game is over. Montreal as Steve Rogers beats Cincinnati 4-1, punctuates his 7th victory with a strikeout of Johnny Bench.